Hello and welcome to the Anxious Knitter podcast. My name is Joy and I am the Anxious Knitter. I'm so anxious that every time I go to an amusement park, I always have to stop myself from shouting, "Check my restraint one more time," at the ride operators because I'm always afraid something terrible is going to happen. I think I have imagined a way to perish terribly on every single ride in existence. In my defense, there was that one time at Canada's Wonderland where Luke's ride restraint wasn't on correctly, and it was a high-flying ride, and I don't think I've had a worse panic attack in my entire life, so maybe I'm justified? I don't know. Anyway, you're here for episode 30. Like I said, my name is Joy, and I'm coming to you from Waterloo, Ontario, Canada, where I live with my husband Luke and our dog Opie. This is a podcast mostly about knitting, but occasionally about crochet, sewing, embroidery, yarn dyeing, and whatever other crafty thing catches my fancy at the moment. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm so happy that you are still here because I know it's been a while. And I'm really happy that you want to spend a part of your day with me. And if you are brand new, just stumbling on my little corner of the internet for the first time, welcome. And I hope you find something that you like. I'm happy that you're here too. Fun fact, it's been about more than 4 months since my last episode. That was not on purpose, okay? I had so many intentions of recording. In fact, I did record multiple times, and again, it didn't work. Thought I had figured out my whole technical situation. Apparently didn't. I don't know what's wrong with my iMovie, so I'm back in QuickTime and hoping for the best right now. So a lot has happened in 4 months. The reason I have been gone is, well, there's so many reasons. One is that I started my job teaching preschool. I'm teaching at 2 locations this year, and I won't lie to you, it's been tough. My morning site is a bit harrowing at times, so it took a lot out of me. And then I also, despite having always prided myself on a stellar immune system, have caught every single bug that those kids have brought in. So I've more or less been some form of ill since January. What are you gonna do? And then when I was gonna record last week, I lost my voice. So obviously that wasn't ideal conditions. I'm sorry if this lamp is going to be slightly distracting. I'm gonna try and keep my head in front of it, just because without it, my hair just blends into the background and I'm just this floating moon face. And I don't know, that makes me feel awkward. So let me just say right off the bat that I am so sorry if you have been waiting for an episode from me or wondering what is going on with me, because I have had a number of people contact me in the past few months asking if I'm okay, and I am okay. I know that because I'm really honest about anxiety and all the stuff that goes with that, a disappearance can feel sort of weird, but it's not that. I'm cool. Everything's cool. Also, I won't lie to you, I have this thing where I don't actually notice time passing, because to be honest, it still feels like we just got back from our January Disney trip 3 weeks ago. We just unpacked our suitcases 2 weeks ago. So I also, when I'm on Instagram, I'm scrolling through Instagram every day. And then I forget that I should probably also post something on my Instagram, that people don't magically know that I'm scrolling through Instagram. As far as people know, I've just disappeared off the face of the earth. So I'm sorry about that. I'm going to try to do better in the future. I have a lot of stuff to talk about. I have some finished objects, I've got works in progress, I've got knitting, I've got sewing, I've got shop stuff, because I know I promised a Disney-themed update, and it's coming, and I will talk about that more, but little teaser, I have a lot of new colorways. All of them are new, and they're all Disney-themed, and the update will be on this Monday. But if you want to know more about that, stick around for news from the cabinet towards the end of the episode. I'm going to try to not talk forever, because otherwise I know if I'm going to try and catch up on 4 months of stuff, it will go on for 3 hours, and I I don't have time for that. I have to take Opie to the vet today. So let's just dive right in, shall we? With my very first segment, of course, which is my dweeb story of almost half a year. Oh my god, that sounds so bad when I say it like that. I had 3 dweeb stories for you, and they were all Disney related. I thought it would be funny to do that. Now it kind of seems silly doing it 3 months later, but I'll give you the 3 Disney dweeb stories. I have one pre-Disney, one in Disney, and one post-Disney. All trip related. Okay? Are you ready? Let's begin. So while we were at the airport, we got there very early. We got through security really early. It was really annoying because I got flagged for like their extra security thing where you have to go to all these checkpoints and get like signatures and crap. It's dumb and I hate it. And I also do not like Toronto Pearson Airport, okay? I'm sorry if you work there and you really like it, but I have not had one pleasant experience at Toronto Pearson Airport. And I don't know what that's about, but every other airport I've ever been to, granted, only 2 of them, no, 3 airports I've been to, and I've liked every other one of them. Just not our own. It's depressing. Anyway, it was real stressful. But we got there, and so we were sitting at our terminal waiting to board, and there was a dog, and it was sweet, and we were petting the dog and talking to the owners, and that was really nice. And then I had to go to the bathroom, as humans are wont to do, and I hate public washrooms. I hate them. Let me tell you, that was the thing I missed the most when this trip was over. I was like, wow, I cannot wait to not use a public restroom again. But I had to do it, obviously, because I wasn't going to use the plane restroom, because if there's anything worse than a regular public bathroom, it's an airplane bathroom. I won't do it. I've done it one time, will not do it. Okay? TMI maybe? I don't know. So they're doing construction at Pearson, and they had sort of this they had the bathroom, and they had this sort of makeshift block of temporary walls around the bathroom. So you'd have to you go through a doorway, there's a little corridor, and then there's your bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, okay? I come out of the bathroom, and immediately I have no idea where the door is to get out of the little weird blockade thing. So I start walking, I find the door that I came in, I pull on it, and it is locked. I'm locked into a public bathroom at an airport, and I'm already stressed out. So, like a loser, I start wandering around this corridor, and then I hear the jingling of keys, and this big burly security guy comes to me, and he goes, "Oh, I thought I heard you in here. Yeah, this bathroom is closed now. I'll have to walk you out." Public bathroom in an airport, walked into the public bathroom, escorted out by security. Oh my gosh, 4 nightmares in one. It was great. It was a great start to my trip. Okay, so there's news story number 1. It was off to a good start. In Disney, things were going fantastically, other than, my feet blistering, but whatever, worth it, Disney. And there were a lot of, I think, South American tour groups that were there, so they all had, their, matching jerseys and stuff, but anyway, the point of that is that I was sitting on, this bench thing with, decorative rocks behind me, eating, or I was waiting for Luke to bring us our Dole Whip, I think is what we were having. No, it wasn't Dole Whip. It was citrus roll. Not important. And I was sitting there, and then there's, a group of people from one of these tour groups, and they're, having the time of their lives looking at this squirrel. Which I'm assuming is because you don't have many squirrels in South America. And in any case, I get it, because I lost my mind every time I saw an egret or one of the little gecko things. I love them. So I get it. But they're, feeding the squirrel, and the squirrel's kind of, just at the end of the, bench on the rocks. So I'm, watching them. They're, feeding, and they're taking pictures and stuff. And then the squirrel has decided, no more. I don't want any more of these shenanigans. I'm done here. So he starts to kind of throw away their food, take the hint, I'm done. And they wouldn't take the hint. They kept getting closer and closer. And so finally the squirrel decided, I need to get out of here now. And he decided to come down the bench behind me, right there, right behind me. And I looked up at him, and I looked into his little beady black eyes, or her, and I knew that that squirrel was making a choice. And that choice was, do I run continuing this way, or do I take the shortcut, which is this random Canadian girl's shoulder? And he was about to do it. I could see it, guys. And then I was like, ah, no! I'm still having bat trauma. And I jumped up, and then all of the people who were giggling at the squirrel started laughing at me. And that was not fun. The squirrel was really cute. But I don't want squirrels running up and down my back, guys. I don't want it, okay? Let's do story number 2. Dweeb story number 3 comes at the airport in Orlando to go home. We couldn't check off. Sorry, I was distracted by a squirrel outside my window. Okay, relevant? I guess so. Yeah, so we couldn't check in online for whatever reason, so we had to go to the terminal, and we got the boarding pass, and it had, your terminal number on it. And then I had the WestJet app that tells you, all the updates on your flight, and it had a different terminal, and also we were 2 hours delayed. The joys of traveling in winter, am I right? So we were already looking at getting on our flight at almost midnight, which sucked. Okay, we were supposed to be home at midnight, basically. Well, not home, but in Toronto, on the ground at midnight. And anyway, so the terminal number was different. So we went to the first terminal, I think, and there was nothing there at all. And then we went to the second terminal, and it said that it was an Air Canada flight going somewhere else. And that was very confusing. So we're like, well, let's go sit. We have some time. Let's go sit at the one that's on our ticket or whatever, and see if anything changes. We're sitting there. I'm routinely checking the app to see if anything has changed, if our flight time has changed, whatever. So we were sitting at the one terminal, and then we've been sitting there for over an hour. I was watching the Grocery Girls, thank goodness, for free Wi-Fi at airports. I do not know what I would have done without it. Read a book, I suppose. Just kidding, I didn't bring one of those. Yeah, so then I don't know why I'm making this gesture. I checked the app. It's about the time that our flight would have normally boarded. And I see that it says that our flight has already boarded at a different terminal. So Luke and I literally stand up, rip our electronics out of the sockets, and just grab our stuff, and we go flying down the hallway thingy, just dragging USB ports behind us, just dragging them. Who cares? I still have crap playing on my phone. Whatever. We run over there, and we go, oh my gosh, is our flight boarded to Canada? And the girl behind the desk is like, what flight is it? And I told her, she's like, oh, this is an Air Canada terminal, though. That's weird. And I was like, well, I mean, what are we supposed to do here? Because, is my flight boarded? And have I missed my flight that I was told was 2 hours delayed? Or what? And she's like, 1 second. And she, gets on the phone, and I hear her over the thing, she's going, could someone from WestJet please call terminal blah, blah, blah? Some of your clients are a little bit concerned, to say the least. Because not only was our flight delayed, Luke was sick, and I was also getting sick, and I just wanted to go home. So finally this family comes up, and they're like, oh my goodness, are you flying with WestJet to Toronto and on the delayed flight? And I was like, yes. And she was like, the wife was like, it's okay, you're in the right place, it hasn't boarded, we're also waiting for that flight. So that calmed me a little bit to know that I had missed my flight, but I couldn't believe that we had become those people just running full tilt through the airport. Because I was looking pityingly on those people in Toronto on our way there. So I don't know if that's karma or what, but there it is. So there are your 3 dweeb stories to make up for almost all of the time that I've been gone. Not quite, but anyway. With all that chatter out of the way, shall we move on? Let's start with our announcements, which is hear ye. Yeah, so, couple things. Last time I recorded, I had talked about doing a 1,500 subscriber giveaway. We are now very close to 2,000 subscribers, which is amazing, but where did y'all come from? But I said that I was going to do a giveaway, so I am still going to do that. I have two things for the giveaway. Both are obviously kind of CURIOS stuff. I'm going to offer up this skein, which is coming up really blue, which I feel is like going to be, will it show? A little better. It's a little more green. This is a skein of his most prized jewel beetle on my Antiquity singles base, which is 100% superwash merino, 115 grams, 465 yards, so pretty generous yardage. It's a turquoisey teal with pops of chartreuse, some speckling in there, and if you love singles as much as I do, I think you'll enjoy this. And as well as that, I'm going to offer up this pumpkin stitch marker that I made a while ago in the fall. I love making these personally, but yeah, and I can assure you it's pretty lightweight, and I use these on my own knitting quite often. So I will be offering these two up, and I might throw in one or two extra little goodies as well into the package. I will have a thread open in the Ravelry group. There will be a prompt. It will probably be something like, it will either be something travel related or it'll be something spring summer knitting related. You'll find out when you get there. But yeah, all you gotta do is go and enter, make sure that you are a member of the Ravelry group, and just answer the prompt. One entry per person. And yeah, so 1,500 plus subscriber giveaway! Yay! Yeah, and then on the topic of giveaways and whatnot, while I was in Florida, it was so awesome. I got to meet Kalisha of the Quirky Monday Craftcast, who I know a lot of you watch Kalisha. And if you don't, you need to head on over there. I'll put a description to her podcast down below. Yeah, we met at Disney Springs on our first day there, and it was so awesome. It was funny because we came out, like Luke and I came out of the restaurant we were eating at, and so I was waiting for her, and I'm like standing there, and I thought I saw her, but you know, both of us being kind of anxious people, we're both kind of like, who's gonna do it first? And finally, we're just like, we just did it. But so that was awesome, and actually, I'll just throw in a picture of the two of us here. But yeah, so it was so great to meet her. I love getting to meet people from like the internet. Does that sound creepy? I have other friends that I've met in other capacities on the internet, and it's always gone really well. But knock on wood, it was great. And she was really kind, and she gave me a gift of a beautiful project bag, which is currently over there. But I think it's housing one of my socks right now, my Van Gogh socks, I believe. And it had constellations on it and whatnot. It was really, really pretty. And then also some Polaroid film, because Luke and I brought our Polaroid camera. It's an Instax, not a Polaroid, but whatever, you get it. And she also gave me another bag to offer as a prize or giveaway. So the next time I host a knit along, this will be one of the prizes. And I love this fabric. I have a thing, just like this cream. I'll put a link to her Etsy shop as well. I don't know if you can, there you go. There's her tag. I love prints that look like old teacups. It's one of my favorite things. But yeah, so that will go to someone lucky eventually, and I'm going to hold on to that. And Kalisha, it was so much fun to meet you, and I can't believe I'm just now getting to talk about that. So yeah. And like I said, I will have shop news later, but I think... Oh, no, there was one more announcement. It's Rhinebeck related, which is that Luke and I are coming to Rhinebeck this October. Yay! We booked our place. It's about 20 minutes outside of Rhinebeck, or like out, like away from the fairgrounds. We will be there all weekend. We will be at India Entangled, hopefully, and obviously Saturday and Sunday. And yeah, we're also staying a few extra days just to do some extra things, just take a little break. But yeah, so if you are going to Rhinebeck and you spot me, come up and say hi. I'd love to say hi. I'm planning to bring a little bit of swag along with me, so if you find me, you might get a little something something. And it's not a pin. It's gonna be something else, but I'll have stuff. And I'll hopefully be there for, I think, the podcaster meetup and stuff like that too. So any of you podcasters out there that are also going to Rhinebeck that watch this one, I would really like to meet you. That sounded weird, I feel, but I'll try and let that go. Yeah, so cannot wait. It's kind of surreal, but can't wait. So excited. Yeah, so that is it for announcements. Let's get into the actual knitting content, shall we? With my finished objects. I feel like I did that one already. Oh well. So I've got a lot to show you. Things that I've cast on and finished since that you haven't even seen yet. I'll start with a half object, which is my first, which is a sock. It's my first Disney sock. I dyed this yarn. It's Little Mermaid inspired, and I specifically dyed it to knit while we were on our trip. I had all these grand notions that I would be able to finish a whole pair of socks in the 11 days that we were gone. I think I knit about this much of this one sock. I was honestly just too tired to knit any other time during the week. But yeah, so this obviously very variegated, plain vanilla sock. I wanted something that required no thinking while I was on the plane because I get really stressed out on planes sometimes. I will say, okay, this colorway will not be in the shop update, so if you were really excited about it, I'm really sorry. I tried to recreate it, and it just turned out terrible. It was a disaster from start to finish. So there will be no Little Mermaid colorway this time around. And honestly, this particular skein was also a nightmare to dye because I made a huge error in the dye pot and almost ruined the skein, almost turned the whole skein brown. That's what happens when you put purple and yellow in the same pot, possibly when the water wasn't hot enough. So it got really muddy and I had to dye over it. So, I mean, you can see there are some kind of murky bits in there, but it's fine. They're just for me. But still, I did knit on this going to and from Disney, so still kind of special. I did finish one other pair of socks. They're another pair of vanilla socks. They're from my brother in a one-of-a-kind colorway that I'm going to try and recreate to some extent. I obviously don't have them because I've already gifted them to him. His birthday was in March, but I will throw up a picture now. And yeah, they were just really simple on my 80-20 base. And I haven't quite decided. The colorway didn't turn out quite how I wanted, but I did really like how it knit up, so we'll see. I'll probably try and make that a thing if people like it. I like it, so I'll probably just make it a thing anyway. Then I started and finished a shawl. I had bought this Knit Picks yarn a while ago. You would have seen it if you watched my live episode with the intention of knitting. It was this sort of apron-style dress with some color work on it, which I still intend to knit, but it just wasn't something I was going to be working on now. And I really wanted to knit with this yarn. So I cast on a shawl with it instead. I figured it's wool of the Andes. It's super cheap, especially when you catch it on sale. So I'll be able to get a sweater's quantity again, no problem. But I can't, did I write it down? No, I didn't. I'll have to just look it up. But anyway, this is the Lieselot shawl. And it is a free pattern. It is a fingering weight pattern, but I knit it in Wool of the Andes Sport. So, because I want it to be really big. And it's a pretty small shawl. It's like basically, I don't know, it just looks like when you see the pictures of it, it looks really small, but it's so pretty. And I've always wanted to knit it. And I remember finding the shawl when I first started knitting. Sorry about the total blowout there on my face. But I remember finding the shawl and thinking that it was too hard when I looked at the pattern. So this was like my mindless knitting, which is funny. But yeah, so it's the colorway is Merlot Heather. It's kind of blowing out. Yeah, that's closer. It's like a dark burgundy-ish, rusty heathered color. Stockinette body with a bit of lace on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that very well. I won't lie, I think that this shawl would have looked better in a lighter shade, but I still really love it. This yarn has beautiful drape. It blocked beautifully. I find it very soft. I know some people find Wool of the Andes kind of scratchy, but I find it softer than Cascade 220. And like I've been wearing this for hours and hours on end around my neck, and I literally love it. And doesn't it just? Oh my god! Look at the way it falls so perfectly. Oh man, I really love it, and I actually want to knit it again in a lighter color, maybe in something I dye with avocado. But yeah, so I knit this pretty quick. I think in less than 2 weeks. It wouldn't I wouldn't have rushed through it so much, except that I wanted to do the Impressionist MCAL, um, and I needed the needles that this was on. I did make quite a few mistakes. I did make a mistake on the increase. You can't really see it. Luckily, you can kind of see towards the bottom where I had no choice but to fix it um, because it affected the lace. But it's a lifted increase, so because it's a free pattern, I don't feel bad saying this. But when I looked up a tutorial for the lifted increases, it said that you had to like knit the stitch and then go into the stitch to do your lifted increase. So I would do that. I'd get to my marker, knit my center stitches, I'd slip my marker, I'd knit a stitch, and then I'd make the stitch. And that was all fine and dandy. It looks fine until you get to the bottom where it counts, and I realized that you never had to knit that stitch after the marker. You made your lifted increase by going into the first stitch, the last stitch of the center spine. So it did change the look a little bit, but it's fine. Nobody's obviously commented on that, so no big deal. But yeah, that's probably one of my favorite FOs that I've done in quite a while. I just love that shawl. My friend Anna is knitting another shawl by that designer, which is a paid-for pattern, and I loved that shawl. And this kind of has a similar lace, just not all over it. Yeah. So then my next finished object is a whole sweater. That's right. I cast on and knit an entire Carbeth sweater by Kate Davies. Yep. This is also some Knit Picks yarn. It's their Simply Wool Bulky. Not the softest, but I find that when I wear it, it's scratchy for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then my skin just gets used to it. Yeah, so I did this in the Wordsworth colorway, which is the darkest gray that they offer. I'm really, really pleased with it. I'm hopefully going to get some pictures of it and post on Instagram. I don't think I'll get them before I post this, unfortunately, so maybe I can get Luke to take one or two tomorrow or something. It was my first proper bottom-up sweater where you had to like knit sleeves and attach them. It was fine. I will say I don't think bottom-up is my favorite construction. I'm definitely more into the top-down, but it was fine. I loved the way that she has you do the decreases to get to this point. I do feel like I didn't get a super neat, I think it's the slip knit side, which is too bad, but it's fine. I love the funnel neck. I did knit mine a little longer than the pattern, I think about 2 inches longer, because I have a long torso. So I would have run the risk of exposing more midriff than most people would wearing this sweater. And I really like the length. I think I would do another one that was like properly cropped just specifically to wear with high-waisted skirts, but this one I can wear with my jeans and still feel comfortable. I'd love to do this sweater again in like a softer merino, in a hand-dyed yarn, but I do love the rustic kind of look of this because it's heathered. So it's the Knit Picks Simply Wool. I really want to try the worsted weight, and actually even the alpaca Aran. Even though I have kind of a bad history with alpaca, I want to try it. Yeah, so this knit up really fast, and that kind of surprised me because like I know people say, oh, bulky, it'll knit up really fast because so much, like not as many stitches, but I knit a lot slower on the thicker needles, but it was a pretty good combination of needles, I have to say. I just went with whatever was in the pattern because I figured it's a boxy sweater. I'm knitting a size up anyway. It's all good. So I knit the second size. Yeah, so I was really happy with that. It's got such a cute 60s vibe, which is why I think it would look really cool. Like, I just think it would look really cool if you did it in black. I know the Carbeth is having a moment right now again, probably because she just released the cardigan, which is really cute. Thinking about that one. I'm also thinking about the other Carbeth she just recently released. It has like lace on the sleeves. That one looked really pretty. And it was longer. But yeah, so I knit a Carbeth. I'm in the Carbeth club. It was a really enjoyable knit and really, really easy. If you have not knit bottom up or if you've not knit a sweater yet, I would recommend that as a potential first sweater because it was good. It was an easy knit. I also have a sewing finished object. I finished my first quilt, guys! Oh my gosh. Did you see what I mean about my face just becoming a moon? I finished my very first quilt. Who would have thought this would ever be a thing? It is a scrappy quilt. It is not even throw size. It's like practically a baby size quilt. I did it with just scraps that I had from other project bags. You'll probably recognize some of these patterns if you follow the shop. But some of them I've had for like ever. Like these two here, I had those fat quarters from like 9 years ago, maybe. Just lying around. Yeah, I did follow, for the most part, Jacqueline Salem's quilt along videos, but I did kind of veer off of her tutorials a little bit. I call this my trial and error quilt because in reality it is a hot mess. My vertical seams did not line up basically at all. In some cases, like a full half to 3/4 of an inch didn't line up. So I actually did no vertical quilting. I did only horizontal. I did not stitch in the ditch. I guess it's technically called straight line quilting, maybe, but you can kind of see I did it on either side of the seam. My intention was to do that vertically too, but it just looked terrible. Luke and I had to rip out a few seams. Luke was very helpful with the quilting. We kind of took it in turns to do the quilting part of it. I also realized about halfway through hand stitching my binding that I was doing it wrong. So halfway through I switched to the right way. But that's okay. I mean, I've already had a nap under this thing and it was great. And it's warm and that's all I could ask for. It's got threads hanging off it. Who cares? Whatever. But I'm pretty proud of myself. This is my first major sewing project that I've ever done. And I caught the quilting bug. Sorry, I got floof on my face. Yeah, so I have started a quilt for my mom for her birthday, which was in January. And then I'm also planning a throw quilt and eventually a bed quilt for a bed. Because I can't do anything in halves. But I'm pretty happy about this thing. And Opie's pretty happy about it too. Because he loves to snuggle with a quilt. Let's see. Is that all my finished objects? Yes, it is. Which means we can jump right along to works in progress. Okay. I've got a couple. I'm not going to show you all the things I'm working on. I've got 2 sweaters to show you and a shawl, and that's basically all I'm going to talk about, except if you watched my last episode, you will remember that I was working on the Little Twig sweater by Melody Hoffman in Wool of the Andes worsted. And I, since then, because I think I had some of one sleeve done, maybe, I had since completed both sleeves and the entire body, and I had just joined, and I was kind of stalling out on it. Something about my numbers wasn't lining up, and I kept looking at it, and I frogged it. It's no fault of the pattern, it's no fault of the yarn, it's more that I don't think the two of them were actually a very good fit. I think that I want for the Little Twig sweater something that's a little more clean. The Wool of the Andes is a bit fuzzy, so I felt like I'm going to do all this work and you're not even going to get to really see the yoke pattern as clearly as I would want you to. So I frogged it, and it felt really good to frog it, I won't lie to you. I had this because I spliced everything, the whole body ripped out in one continuous thread, and like that ball was like this big. It was fantastic. And I'm gonna knit a cardigan. I think I'm gonna knit the Stillwater cardigan with that yarn instead, because I think it will really suit the more rustic looking yarn. But as for things I'm actually working on, I'll show you my sweaters first. So you may remember from a while ago, I started a sweater for Luke for Christmas, didn't get it done. This was supposed to be for his birthday then in February, that didn't happen. Now it's his I'll finish it when I finish it sweater, but it's the Durangue sweater by Stephen West. Sorry, this might be a little wrinkled. By Stephen West. I'm knitting this out of Cascade 220. We're calling this his Ravenclaw Quidditch sweater. And yeah, so I finally finished the yoke, and now I'm working my way down the body in the solid gray. Both of these are the Heathers lines of Cascade 220, in sort of like a royally blue and a heathered gray. It's a pretty cool sweater. I would not want to knit it again. I told him, quite honestly, I was like, if this is too big for you, I don't care. It can be your bumming around the house sweater. It can be your going outside with the dog sweater. I do not care at all. I'm sure I will knit him other sweaters and probably in nicer yarns, so it's fine. He likes it anyway, so whatevs. But yeah, I learned how to do Japanese short rows for the back collar, and I think the raglan shaping, I haven't really done raglan shaping like this before. So yeah, so that is making its way downtown, walking fast, faces past, and I'm homebound. Sorry, couldn't help it. Yeah, so I need to get back to work on this. You'll see why I kind of petered out on it a little bit, but I will finish it. I will finish it. You have my word. And that's also for Luke, who I know will be watching this at some point. I also started a new sweater. You may, if you follow me on Instagram, remember that I posted my yarn choices for Sunset Highway. I've been wanting to knit that sweater since basically it came out, and I saw it everywhere. And finally, I cast it on. I cast it on because I got a couple projects off the needles, and I felt like I could do it without feeling guilty. And man, is this thing a joy to knit and flying off the needles. Let me just get it in. Oh, so many ends from Fair Isle, though. So yeah, there it is so far. So I have knit the whole yoke. I've obviously separated for the body, and I'm making some progress on that. And holy cow, I love this project so much. Oh my god. So this is all my own hand-dyed yarn. My idea was that if I ever did any craft fairs or knitting festivals in the future, I could have this sample that I could wear on my body that's all my own hand-dyed yarn. So yeah, so colorway-wise, the main color, which is the body, is my Sparrows and Ink Caps colorway. I am alternating every row, and I really love how that's knitting up. The dark green was a mistake skein that I over-dyed that I will be recreating. I've discovered that I really enjoy dyeing tonals, so I want to kind of explore tonals and solids a little bit more. More so tonals than solids, I don't know why I said that. But yeah, so it is my high contrast color and I love it. The orange you may recognize from my Mount Pleasant tee. This is the only yarn that's not my exhibition sock. This is on Herbarium, which is my BFL silk base. And this one doesn't, I still haven't decided on a name, but it's probably going to be something pumpkin related. Yeah, so there's that. And then this last contrast color is from my very first skein of Remington number 1, which is one of my most popular colorways. And I see why. I love the way it knits up. I'm hoping I have plenty of leftover because I want to use it with my Stephen King minis to make a sockhead hat. But yeah, so this has been so much fun. I'll show you my floats a bit here. I feel pretty good about them in general. I will say, so I've been wrapping my stitches quite a lot because there's some long, uh, stretches of stitches. And then I saw someone else post about their Sunset Highway floats, and Caitlin Hunter commented and said that she doesn't wrap her floats unless there's more than 10 stitches, I think. And so I stopped wrapping my floats, catching my floats, sorry, when I had 10 or less stitches. So I didn't have to do it as much towards the end, but, sorry, I just plugged my own ear. But yeah, I really enjoyed doing the color work. It was so much fun to watch it come together. I do love it. I also did not do wrap and turn short rows for the back of the neck. I did German short rows, which required no extra work, really. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was less work. And yeah, I think it's so funny because everyone is always like, oh, fingering weight sweater, like, it takes so long. This has been knitting faster than that worsted weight drange sweater by far. And I think it's just because the combination of the needle size and the weight of the yarn, just, my fingers just fly, man. It's the fastest that I've, like, ever knit a project, I think. Like, it's crazy. A project of this size. But yeah, so I'm pretty stoked about that whip. I was actually just working on it while I was watching the finale episode of Godless, and man, was I stress knitting on that. Yeah, so my last whip is the Curious Handmade Impressionist Mystery Cowl shawl. So if you don't want to see spoilers, look away now and probably jump ahead a couple of minutes. Give yourself probably like 3 minutes at least. But yeah, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, just in case people are like listening and not able to get to the things. Just don't look, okay? So I'd never done a mystery knit along. I've always watched other people doing them on Instagram and Ravelry and stuff, and I've always thought it sounded so cool, and her snow melt shawl was so great, and I really wish that I had done the mystery knit along part of it, but I didn't. I do have yarn to knit one of those, but it won't obviously be a mystery. So I was like, you know what, I like her stuff, why not do it? I have yarn in stash for it. I'm gonna go for it. So my yarns I chose were, there we go. This is Crooked Kitchen Yarn, which is a Canadian dyer, in the Cleopatra and the Asp colorway. And I bought this at the KW Knitters Fair in September, and I love this color. It's so pretty. It's just the softest and most delicate pink with like colorful speckles. And then this one, which is Map of the World on a BFL blend. And this is from Fuse Fiber Studio. This was a lovely gift from the dyer. And I've been holding on to this to knit socks, and I was like, no way, it's too pretty for socks. I can't do it. And then my third is this one, which was also a gift from Debbie of the Loving Path Yarn and the Loving Path podcast. And this one I had been hoarding for a hat, but I was like, it works, so I'm just gonna do it. This is her mystical colorway. I don't know if she dyes this anymore, but it's beautiful. I love it. So here's my thing. So I'm behind. I'm only on clue. I'm still finishing clue 2. And I mean, there's a reason that I'm behind. The reason is that I got really into the Sunset Highway sweater. I was really busy. And also, frankly, I'm not loving the actual shawl so far. I'm going to finish it because I've put in this much work and I really want to see what happens at the end. And I've thought about like, oh, maybe I should just look to see on Instagram, like someone who's finished or is close to finishing, and I'll see if I really like it. But you know what? I'm going to finish it and I will wear it. It's not something that I'm really loving to knit on. And also, I mean, I'm using 32-inch, like a 32-inch cable, so it's pretty bunched up. So I'm going to show it now, what I have here. So obviously you can see I've got a great fade going between my first 2 colors. They fade perfectly. And then my third color is a little more bold, but I'm cool with that. I knew that was going to happen when I picked the colors, so I figured if there was any kind of striping, this was definitely going to be a stripe, so that's fine. And then I've just started on the lace here. I don't love knitting double-sided lace. I don't love it. I'm doing it, but I don't love it. I'm worried that this is going to be one of those shawls that is really shallow, like the Pure Joy. And while I love my Pure Joy, I don't reach for it as much as I reach for a lot of my other shawls, because I want that, like, I'm pointing over here, when I put on my Lieselot shawl, and you have that like big shape, and it's very sort of like a statement. I love that when I wear shawls, and so I don't often reach for my Pure Joy because it fits more like a regular scarf, and I don't really wear regular scarves. If you have finished this shawl, don't tell me what it looks like, but just tell me if it's going to be one of those really shallow crescents, just so I can be prepared by the end result. But please don't tell me anything other than that. I do really want to keep this a mystery. But yeah, so I will work on it. I'm slowly plugging away. I've also been plugging away on my Sizzle Pop. Oh, my eye's switching. Also, the shawl is gone, if you've been listening, so you can look now. I have been working on my Sizzle Pop shawl, but I stopped again because my brain hurt. I was sick. But I was getting some work done. So I'm a little disappointed that I'm not like immediately loving the Impressionist thing. I was really into the idea of it being an Impressionist thing because I was an art history major. I still love art history. And I actually have already been planning to do a series of colorways for my next update that are based on artists and paintings. So it felt like the right time, but it's okay. It's fine. I'm gonna leave my whips there. I do have other things on the needles, but I'm not gonna talk about them until I've made like significant progress. So let's see. I've done my works in progress and my finished objects. I'm going to do my news from the cabinet segment, which is obviously about my shop, Cabinet of Curios Yarns on Etsy, which you can find the link to down below. And then I might do a really quick my life, etc. But if that's it, if you don't want to see shop news, you don't want to hear about my life outside of knitting, that's totally cool. I will see you next time. Otherwise, stay tuned for news from the cabinet. Opening my cabinet door. So let me show you some of the stuff we have. There will be no stitch markers in this update, unfortunately. Just didn't have time on top of everything else. But I will have stitch markers for the next one. Also, after dyeing all these Disney yarns, I'm really just dying to get back into natural dyes and some more neutrally type things. So I think the next update will be very different from this one, but this was so much fun. But let me start with the bags that Luke has sewn. He's got, we found this awesome fabric, which just felt so on theme for us at Cabinet of Curios. So we've got this in sock size, and you can see it's got, it's shiny, it's gold, it's really beautiful fabric. And on the inside is the star fabric, and they're not on right now, but they will have our signature skeleton key pull things. Words, you know what I mean. So yes, we have three of these on sock with in our sock on sock. Oh my gosh, guys, have you tell it's been a while? Have you tell? Can you tell? Can you tell that I don't speak at all except to young children these days? Oh my goodness. Okay, so I have these in sock size, 3 of them with the forest green zipper. And then I also have 2 of our shawl size bags with the navy blue zipper. And these are really generously sized bag, easily a 2 or 3 skein project. I mean, I think this is the same size. Actually, mine might be a little bit smaller, and I'm fitting a 3 skein shawl in there. So perfect for your shawl projects, for baby sweaters, hats, and socks. If you want to carry multiple projects in the same bag because you're traveling, this could be for you. And I just love that. We'd also done a great custom order for someone and we had leftover fabric, so we decided to sew up a couple sock-sized bags. They're kind of cult themed bags, palmistry and stuff like that, with these sort of off yellow zippers and this black, not black, it's more gray and white arrow print fabric on the inside. So those ones are a lot of fun. If you're into that sort of thing, you like purple. And then we have one of these. We had picked up this fabric a while ago. If you're a huge fan of cardinals, this could be for you. It's a shawl-sized bag. It's very soft fabric, actually. Green zipper with our green gingham on the inside. And yeah, there will be one of these in the shop as well. So those are the bags that you can purchase in our shop. And now let's talk about the Disney yarn, shall we? Ooh, so much fun. Okay, so let's start with this is one of my first colorways. I've labeled them already, so they are basically ready to go. I just have to make the listings. This is Main Street USA. So it's white and pastel blues and pinks with some specklings of yellow and gray and blue. And this was sort of obviously meant to evoke that, you know, beautiful, colorful Main Street and cotton candy and popcorn. If you've been to Disney World, Magic Kingdom, you know when you walk down Main Street, you can smell. It's just amazing how the street smells. And I kind of wanted to capture that. So if you love soft colors, you might like these. It's very different for me. I don't typically do pastels, but it was a fun experiment. So yeah, that's Main Street USA. Sorry. There we go. And then, oh, I actually have a couple of I'll talk about those actually at the end. I have a jasmine colorway called I Am Not a Prize to Be Won. So you can see it's white and that sort of turquoisey color of her outfit with some speckles. I love this colorway. I was really pleased with how this came out. So that is I Am Not a Prize to Be Won. I have a Maleficent colorway for all you Disney villain fans called the Mistress of All Evil. So you can see here, it's got some black, it's got gray, it's got purple, it's got pops of chartreuse green, and there's also, on one skein it's a little more hidden just the way it twisted up, but they've also got some little hidden, well, this one, you can see here, pops of hot pink. So yeah, let's see. Can I get a shot where you can really see the green? Here. There you go. So that's my Maleficent colorway. Mistress of All Evil. There will be 2 of those on Exhibition Sock, I should say. I have only 2 bases this update. I have Exhibition Sock, and then I have a new one called Semi-Precious Sock, which is a... oh, you guys, do you know what I just realized? Okay, it's I think it's 84% superwash merino, 16% Selena nylon, and I just wrote 80-20 on all of them. You'll have to forgive me this time around, but just did I? Maybe I did write it right. Okay, so no, I did write it wrong because I said it was 80-16, which obviously does not add up to 100%. But you get it. You get it. The 16 is correct. Anyway, I have a Selena base that I'm offering, but yeah, so this is Maleficent. I have a Moana colorway called the Heart of Te-Fiti, which I feel like it's gonna blow out, but this is pretty good. It's a little more green. It's that beautiful, I feel like I got it pretty good in real life. I'm sorry that you can't see it perfectly here, but that bright green of Te-Fiti when she becomes, you know, herself. at the end when they save her, with the pink for her flowers, some turquoise as well in there. Um, so yeah, if you are a huge Moana fan like Luke and I are, this is definitely for you. And it's really beautiful and bright and springy and summery. I think this would make a beautiful pair of socks. I think it would make a beautiful hat. Oh man, I would be into that. You'll notice there's a lot of purple and green in this update, but I was really feeling it. This is my Princess and the Frog colorway called I Do Not Kiss Frogs. And it's a little more, it's here you can see, I don't know if it'll show the difference here, but you can see that the Princess and the Frog colorway is a little more green. This is a little more blue, and obviously the Jasmine has more white. So I've got 2 of these on exhibition sock. You can see some of the speckling on here. I was kind of inspired by, her beautiful dress. And actually, Tiana was one of our favorite character meets on our trip. She was so on point. Like, her improv skills were unreal. Did you just hear Opie on? Listen to him back there. But yeah, so that is I Do Not Kiss Frogs, and I am pretty pleased with that. And I think it would actually fade really beautifully if you were looking to do a fade. It would fade beautifully with our Jasmine colorway. I have a Mulan colorway called The Flower That Blooms in Adversity, and this is one of my favorites. This is inspired by the beautiful outfit she wears to the matchmaker, and that she wears, I think, during, Reflection. So pinks and purples and cream and blue. This is, I think, if I didn't have to part with it, I wouldn't. I would keep this, but I love this one. Let's see. All right. This is our Haunted Mansion colorway, 999 Happy Haunts. Haunted Mansion is our favorite ride at Disney World, by far. So I did shades of gray, as you can see, with speckles of black and green and purple. And the reason for that is when you see Haunted Mansion merchandise, you're either getting the purple and black, brocade kind of patterning from the wallpaper that has like all the little like faces and eyes in it, or you're seeing the green and black pinstripes that the cast members wear. So we tried to capture that in our Happy Haunts colorway, and actually that would also look really good fading with Maleficent, if that's something you're into. So yeah, there's that. We also, I have one skein. I have 2 one-of-a-kinds in here. 3 actually, but anyway. So this is my Snow White colorway called I'm Wishing. So you can see I have the pale yellow, white, black, blue, red, very kind of classic Snow White colors. So I was very pleased with how this came out. This came out pretty much exactly how I envisioned it. Then I have a Brave colorway called Change Your Fate. And clearly I went literal on this one. So obviously that tealy green for her dress and the orange tones for her hair. You will find there are some brown speckles kind of hidden throughout, and those are supposed to be for her freckles. But it's very, very light speckling, not light freckling. She has lots of freckles. I should have gone a little heavy, but I didn't want to lose the orange. But anyway, really happy with this. I only have one of these ones because my friend bought one. I couldn't pass it up. She always dresses up as Merida for the princess teas that we do. And then because we did spend a day in Universal, Harry Potter, I couldn't pass up doing a couple of Harry Potter colorways. So this one is called My Dear, You Have the Grim. And I took the inspiration directly from the description in the book of the red scarves draped over everything having sort of a crimson golden light. and then white for, porcelain, and then the speckling for the tea leaves. This is possibly one of my favorite things I've ever dyed. I actually had dyed one up for my friend for her birthday, and I loved it so much I had to do it for the shop. And if you're a Gryffindor, I mean, it's pretty good, I think. It's a pretty good Gryffindor colorway. But even if you're not a Gryffindor, I'm not. I love this. And that's the last of the exhibition stock, so I can move right into semi-precious with my next Harry Potter colorway, which is a one-of-a-kind as well, because I sold one to a friend. But this is Felix Felicis. This is a tonal golden color. I don't know if you can you see? Let me see if I can get the stellina to show up. Not in this light, not very well. But anyway, I can guarantee you it's very, very sparkly. I will probably carry this in some form or another in the shop as a regular colorway, but I'm also planning to adapt this to a artist-themed colorway as well. So if you like a tonal, or if you look at these two together, oh, perfect, or what? I think these would look amazing striped together. Just saying. So yeah, so that's Felix Felicis. And then I have, let me get the other one, Flower Gleam and Glow, which is our Tangled colorway. Yeah. Oh, here you can see the stellina really clearly on here. So purples, pinks, greens for Pascal. I think this would be really pretty if you have a little one who's a fan of Rapunzel. This might be a fun thing to knit them something out of. Or you want your collection of Disney socks to grow. There you go. And then I have, is this it? This was a real labor of love, this colorway. It's Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas. I was trying to go for that scene in the song where everything kind of looks like chalk pastels. So there's sort of a range of pastel shades and brighter oranges and turquoise, turquoise. And on the stellina base, and I love this. Like, again, this is another one that if I didn't have to sell it, I wouldn't have. I would have knit myself a shawl out of this because I think it turned out really pretty. Yeah, so this one, I won't lie to you, might be non-repeatable. This was a lot of over-dyeing until it looked exactly how I wanted it. I mean, I can try if it's something you really, really love and you don't get your hands on it, but I cannot guarantee you it will look like this. Pretty much everything else, I won't be carrying regularly. I might dye up one or two Disney colorways here and there in future updates just when the mood strikes me, but if there is a colorway that you really loved that you couldn't get your hands on for whatever reason, don't be afraid to send me a message. I would be happy to dye pretty much any of these colorways in just about any quantity. So, and on any base. I have access to DK and worsted and bulky as well. I do plan to introduce those into the shop at some point, just not at the moment. And yeah, so I think that is all of the stuff. So yeah, I'm willing to do custom orders on Disney yarns if you don't get. Oh, there's an Opie here. Does Opie want to come say hi? Come up here and say hi. Oh, here he is. Here he is. He wants to say hi to you. He missed you guys too. Or he just wants to eat my lipstick. I know, MAC lipstick smells so good. Okay, so yeah, so that's it for shop news. I think I am actually going to leave it there. I will talk more about what's been going on in my day-to-day next episode, which will hopefully be next week or the week after. It's my birthday this Saturday, which is kind of exciting. I have some fun plans for that, so yeah, I'll have plenty to talk about in my life, etc. next time, but I think I'm going to leave it there so you don't have to sit here forever and a day. I do have plans to do a Disney video specifically, and yeah, that will hopefully go up sometime. Don't jump on the yarn! Dogs. Anyway, that's my cue to go. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you would like to find me elsewhere on the internet, you can find me on Ravelry as dabblejoy and on Instagram as Rhineland Story. And if you would like to find our shop, Cabinet of Curios Yarns, you can find us on Etsy at cabinetofcuriousyarns.etsy.com. It'll be linked below. And you can find us on Instagram at cabinet of.curios. So yes, it was great talking to you. I hope this wasn't too rambly or I was talking too quick or anything. It's been quite a while. I'm a little out of practice, but yeah, happy knitting, happy living. Over now. I'm so anxious that every time I go on an amusement, no.